Hello and welcome to this Unisensor microsensor lecture. My name is Lars Hauer Larsen and I am CSO here at Unisense and responsible for production and development of Unisense microsensors. In this lecture I will give information about some basic definitions and detecting principles used for the different Unisense microsensors and the kind of meters/amplifiers the different sensor types must be used with. Unisense microsensors utilize different detecting principles, and each detecting principle needs unique amplifier electronics to detect and amplify the signal for data acquisition. Therefore, it is important when purchasing a lab or field meter to consider possible future needs of different sensor types. So these possibilities are covered by the choice of meter. Each sensor channel on a lab or a field meter has an associated standalone amplifier electronics, and the meters can be purchased with different standard configurations reflecting the user's need. Unisense do also custom make and configure the lab or field meters if a desired configuration is not covered by our standard portfolio. If the signal generated by a microsensor is due to an oxidation or reduction of the analyte, the sensor is called an amperometric microsensor. They are sometimes also named Clark-type sensors because Clark invented this kind of sensor for blood oxygen measurements. Unisense amperometric microsensors are complete electrochemical cells which is shielded from the measuring environment with a tip membrane which is permeable to the analyte. As oxidation or reduction of the analyte is the detection principle, the signal is a current that runs from the working electrode to or from a reference electrode. Therefore, the sensors must be used with an amperemeter, and as the current is very small in the picoamp range, a high quality amplification is necessary for amplifying such tiny current. Each channel for amperometric sensors, microsensors, is essentially a standalone picoamp per meter. And because our lab and field meters have adjustable polarizations, all amperometric microsensors can be used on the same channel. For sake of reducing electrical noise on the signals, the picoampere signal is within the meter converted to a millivolt signal for input signal to the data acquisition. Unisense sells amperometric microsensors for oxygen, nitrous oxide, hydrogen sulfide, nitric oxide, and hydrogen. Our potentiometric microelectrodes are electrodes where the signal is a potential generated between the electrode in question and a reference electrode. The potentiometric microelectrodes must be coupled to a millivolt meter with a high internal impedance due to the high impedance of the tiny microelectrodes. Each channel for potentiometric electrodes is essentially a standalone millivolt meter, and all types of Unisense potentiometric electrodes can be used with such channel. Unisense produce and sell potentiometric microelectrodes for pH, redox potential, and electrical potential. We have so far only developed one type of optical microsensor, the oxygen optode. The signal relies on fluorescence of a dye on the optode tip, which intensity is influenced by oxygen. Optodes need therefore a photodetecting meter, an optode meter. Unisense sells both single or multi-channel meters for optodes only, but also lab and field multi-channel meters with channels for optodes as well as amperometric sensors and potentiometric electrodes. Because the signal automatically can become temperature compensated, meters with channels for optodes always have a channel for a temperature sensor. Our temperature sensors, both micro and the robust versions, are based on the thermocouple principle. This requires special plugs and electronics, which is why our temperature microsensors have their own channels on both laboratory and field meters. Temperature sensors are required for temperature compensation of the microsensor signals, and all Unisense amplifiers therefore have channels for temperature sensors. To use microsensors with our autonomous underwater landers, profiles and data loggers, the amplifier electronics used for lab and field meters is built into a waterproof and pressure-stable housing. Essentially, each in situ amplifier represents a single channel on a lab or field meter. The amplified signal is developed to a central data logging unit, and these units are mounted on a frame with motorized profiling systems or flux chambers and a large battery pack, so the system can be lowered to the seafloor and make autonomous measurements. Due to use of different polarizations for the amperometric sensors, these sensors need a unique in situ amplifier for each sensor type. This is because the polarization which the in situ amplifier apply to the sensors is not adjustable. Thus, you cannot use, for example, a sulfide sensor and an oxygen sensor with the same in situ amplifier. Redox, pH and electrical potential electrodes can be used with the same type of amplifier, as it is simply a millivolt meter, whereas both optodes and temperature microsensors need a unique in situ amplifier. Unisense produces an ultra-sensitive version of our oxygen sensor, the STOX sensor. This is essentially an oxygen sensor built into a second oxygen sensor, which polarization can be turned on and off. Thus, there are more connections to this sensor compared to a normal oxygen sensor. Our Uniamp lab amplifier portfolio is prepared for STOX sensors, and therefore STOX sensors can be used directly on a channel for amperometric sensors. For STOX sensors used with our field multimeter or legacy lab amplifiers, a STOX box must be inserted between the sensor and the meter/amplifier to operate the STOX function. Our autonomous in situ instrumentation are prepared for STOX sensors. Our field data logger, which are used as a central data logging unit on our landers and profilers, handles the STOX sensor function and log data from it, but it takes, however, a unique in situ amplifier. Therefore, an in situ amplifier for normal oxygen microsensors cannot be used. The most user-friendly option is, however, to use our Field Data Logger Mini, also with a special in situ amplifier. This option provides the user with full control of the STOX function settings. Thank you for watching this Unisense microsensor lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to contact us at sales@unisense.com.